Last weekend, my oldest son and I had the opportunity to go up to LA to be tattooed by the amazing Austin Maples. Now, what makes this interesting is he put his brand new beautiful tattoo right next to my first tattoo that I got 27 years ago. And also, too, what's kind of amazing is that Robert, my oldest son, was with me at last weekend's appointment, and he was actually with me on my first appointment. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm looking at this tattoo that I've had around my ankle for 27 years, and I'm looking at the tattoo that Austin is giving me, and it really hit me how far I have come in that 27 years, not only in my tattoos, but also personally. I had given Austin complete artistic freedom over designing and tattooing my right calf. Now, he's an amazing American traditional artist, and I'm like, here's my leg, do whatever you want to with it. I'm like, but you know what? I have this one tattoo here. It's barbed wire around my ankle. It's been there with me for 27 years. And you know what? You're gonna have to work around it. And he's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. He goes, I love these old school tattoos that look like they've, have a story. They've been through a lot. And I'm like, yeah, that's definitely the story of this tattoo. But it got me to thinking, I'm sitting there and I'm watching him draw this amazing stencil on my leg. And I was sitting there and it just took me a moment. It took me a moment just to kind of look down, and I looked at this tattoo. I looked at this barbed wire, and it brought me back to where I was 27 years ago. And then I was looking at this beautiful stencil of this just fierce, strong cobra, and I'm like, this is who I am today. And that is when it hit me. That is when it hit me how far I have come. How far I've come personally, how far I've come in the development of my tattoos. And I stopped and I was like trying to explain this to Austin, and I'm like, duh, duh, duh. And he's like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, give me a minute. And then I'm like, I explained to him, just the difference as to who I was back then and who I am today. And he's like, this is really cool. And you know what? I thought it was so cool that I want to share it with you. So I'm going to share with you in a real kind of cool story how far I've come in 27 years. Because you know what? This is a story of strength. This is a story of rebirth. This is a story of you might feel one way today, but that's not the story for the rest of your life. You have, it's a story of hope. So let's just dive in. Let's just dive into the story of a gal getting a tattoo, and 27 years later, she never in a million years would have thought that she would be standing in front of you today. So 27 years ago, there was a young mom of two that was in a bad marriage. She was in a bad marriage in a bad spot, and she didn't have much self-esteem. Do you know what? When you're in a situation and when you're in a relationship with somebody whose main goal is to tear you down, you can only fight for so long. That's all I can say. Either if you've been in a relationship like that, or if you're in a relationship like that, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm sitting there, and it had just gotten to the point where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And my ex-husband had moved out, and I was just left kind of broken. I was just left sad, broken, beaten down. You know what? I was 95 pounds and I thought I was just fat and stupid. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to rebuild myself. I am going to I'm going to come back from this. I'm stronger than this. I can do this. And, but I was missing something. It was like I wanted to mark that moment. So I reached out to my sister, who was my ride or die. You know what? She was always that one person who you would call and they would just be like, let's do it. So I called her and I'm like, hey, you know what? I want to get a tattoo. And she's like, oh my gosh, me too. So, you know, in all of our motherly wisdom, we gathered up our children and we headed to a tattoo shop out in the desert. Now, this was not a family-friendly tattoo shop, but that didn't stop us. And we sat there, and I got my very first tattoo at 30 years old. And I got the barbed wire around my ankle. Now, again, I was 30, and today I am 57. So in that 27-year time frame, all sorts of things happened. You know, my divorce got finalized. I unfortunately developed an addiction to alcohol. I developed a gambling addiction. You know, I raised my children under the influence of alcohol. I crashed and burned. I got sober. I rebuilt my life. I reconnected with my children. I became very successful in an escrow career. I gave all that up and I became a full-time social media influencer. And I took that poor, beaten down, imprisoned single mom, and I turned her into a 57-year-old social media influencer who just is, I'm fierce, I'm strong. I can get in front of 1 million people every single day and be like, wear what you want. You're never too old to wear what you want. Your life is your self-expression. I mean, it is just everything that I dreamt of, everything that I have built, I am doing today. And that is all embodied into this most magnificent tattoo that Austin drew on my shin. This cobra is fierce. This cobra is strong. This cobra is just beautiful and just majestic. And that cobra is directly above the barbed wire. And when I was sitting there, it brought me to tears. It brought me to tears because it had been a very long time that I had stopped and looked back at the journey that I have been on. It's been a very long time since I have been, this is who I was and this is who I am. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment. It was a beautiful moment that I wanted to share with you because there is a moral to this story. Now, the moral to this story, the whole reason I am sharing this moment with you is because I want you to know that there is hope. I want you to know that there is rebuilding after bad relationships. I want you to know that when you are older, you're not weaker. When you're older, you're stronger. You know what? You can take those life experiences, you can take those hardships, and you can turn it around and you can use that as your strength. So it irritates me, to put it mildly, when I see society portraying women my age as quiet or demure, or you're to be seen and not heard. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, society, you got that wrong. I'm here to be heard. I'm here to share this message with you. And I focus mainly on women because I'm a woman. This is a non-gender message. This is a message of rebuilding. Now, I am a huge advocate of not only being vibrant and amazing and strong and fierce over 50, but I'm a huge advocate for tattoos. Tattoos they mean so much to so many different people, and it irritates me, to put it mildly, when I hear people generalizing tattoos, or generalizing people who have tattoos, or being like, oh, she's tattooed, she must be this, or he has tattoos, so he's got to be that. It is so far from the truth. You know what? My tattoos are the roadmap to my life. My tattoos have helped me. They've helped me stay sober. They've helped me get sober. They've helped me be fearless to be able to get in front of people. My tattoos are a part of who I am. And you know what? I like who I am. So I want you to hear this message. I want you to know that if you're out there and you're feeling any sort of beaten down, or if you're feeling that there's no hope, or if you're feeling that your time has passed, or if you're out there and you're fearing the future because you don't want your future to be beige, I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be that way. You can be a cobra. You can be fierce and strong at any age. Your tattoos can be your life story, and you should be proud of your life story. You can wear what you want. I mean, it is just, it makes me really stop again, for the lack of words, when I gave Austin the complete artistic freedom to put whatever he wanted to on my leg, and he embodied and represented me better than I ever could have done that myself. And for that, I will be eternally grateful to him. I love him as a person. He is my friend. And he will always be Austin, my friend, who tattooed who I was at the age of 57, for me to remember this for the rest of my life. So now I have that representation of me at 30 struggling to find who I am, and me at 57 being like, hey, don't worry about it. I got you. This is who we are now. And that is my story for you. And again, if you needed to hear this, it is my pleasure to be able to share that with you. As always, if you enjoyed today's episode, by all means, please hit that like button. If you'd like to stick around and see what I'm going to talk about next, you can hit subscribe. Now, if you have any comments or questions or anything about today's episode, please, by all means, please leave that down below. If you'd like to share your story, I would love to hear it, because sometimes just sharing it is the first step to healing. And I'd be more than happy to hear it and to respond and give you any words of encouragement I can. And if you'd like to follow me on any of my social media links below, those are there for you. And until next time, please remember, wear what you want, be kind to yourself, be a cobra, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye.